on now to our other big story on the buck stops here tonight. From Jamia Millia Islamia University in Delhi to Jadavpur University in Kolkata, young men and women are taking to a novel form of protest against sexual violence, molestation, rape and attitudes of misogyny against women. It's being called the Pads Against Sexism campaign, in which sanitary pads are being used as a strong symbol to send out a message against misogyny. Yet, why should this campaign get our students, our young people into trouble? Shouldn't it be applauded in a sense for its innovation, for its imaginative use of the period as a symbol to make the point that the period is not impure and not something that needs to be hidden away? Well, both the authorities of Jamia and Jadavpur are not amused. In both cases, the students who are part of the campaign have been asked why they are protesting in this manner. In Jamia, notices have been sent to the students who are spearheading the campaign, and in Jadavpur University, a probe panel has been set up. Why are university authorities curbing this form of protest, and are they completely missing the point? Let's go across now to Kolkata, where we're joined by two of the young students of Jadavpur University who are spearheading the Pads Against Sexism campaign. Joey Banerjee and Orumita Mitra are joining us, but we're also joined by the acting Vice Chancellor of Jadavpur University, Ashish Swaroop Verma, who is, of course, among the officials of the university that has disapproved of the form of the protest. I will first start with you, Joey, if I may. Why is this form of campaigning important? Why sanitary pads?
This form of campaigning is very, very important because, I'm sorry, you can hear myself.
Okay, we'll just fix that. You go ahead.
This form of campaigning is very important because you see the immense amount of reaction that we are getting after using the sanitary napkins. We already held a lot of gender sensitized campaigns, but none of them could get so much of public attention and reaction. I won't say just public attention, but reaction as well. They question and counter question themselves, because you see the menstruation and sanitary napkins, they are always a taboo in India.
Yes.
Which is completely unnecessary. We do not need it because it is something very natural and very healthy, as natural as we can see, we can hear, we can eat, we feel hungry. So we menstruate as well, women menstruate as well, and it's very, very simple. But this is some kind of a taboo because of which a lot of women, I should say most women, cannot talk about periods, cannot, you know, when you go to the medical store, they wrap the napkins in black plastics and everything as if it's something of a huge shame which cannot come out in public. So I think this taboo is because of patriarchal notions that we also have within ourselves, which we do not realize mostly. So I think this pad against sexism is very, very important to break those, to first identify those patriarchal notions and then break it.
Let me bring in Orumita, and then I'll open it up to the Vice Chancellor. Orumita, I'm on your side. I have to first declare my bias on this program, with due apologies to the Vice Chancellor. I am completely on your side. In fact, we're calling this program Stop Sexism ... which makes its own statement. But let me ask you the argument of the critics. Both the Vice Chancellor, who's on this program tonight, and the authorities in Jamia Millia are saying that the protest is your democratic right, but the form is unnecessary. It's attention seeking. It may upset the sentiments of people. It's not an acceptable way to make a statement. How do you respond to that criticism? While I personally disagree with it, there are enough people who are saying this.
Yeah, see, basically when we talk about our culture, how do we define it? And more so when we talk about that this form of protest is not socially acceptable, then who decides that? We are not on the part of deciding which form of protest is socially acceptable and which is not. If mass movements, if agitation, if poster writings and everything's Facebook campaign or social media campaign, if every form of protest is socially acceptable, then sanitary napkin is not. And why is that? Because we know what she was talking about is due to this patriarchal setup or the system where we grow, rather. Even I am a part of that patriarchal system as well.
Yes.
But what we need to do in this 21st century, when we call ourselves progressive, it is not on the basis that we use smartphones and we use social media sites, but we have to be progressive in our mentality as well. Now, talking about progressive mentality, we see that in this 21st century, even menstruation is still a taboo. We do not talk about menstruation to our male members of our family.
Yeah.
What we saw is that after the movement, even each of us who are part of this protest, we ourselves got sensitized.
Yeah.
I first talked about menstruation and all these things about to my male members of my family. They voluntarily accepted, and even they talked about it. This is sensitization. This is what we need. And to have this, we need to give this strike. If we don't give a strike to the society will always go in that terms only.
Okay, I want to now bring in Ashish Swaroop Verma, who's been listening to both of you, and you're very outspoken and, according to me, very courageous courageous views. Let me ask you, sir, one of the messages on these sanitary napkins reads, "I wish the rape culture repulsed you more than my blood." Are the authorities in Jadavpur and Jamia just out of sync with how today's India thinks? These are two women, but there are many young men who are also part of this campaign. Why do we have to whisper about our period? Why is the product even called whisper? Why does the chemist wrap up the sanitary towels in polythene black bags, and, literally you're made to whisper about it? And why are you, as a modern vice-chancellor of a great university, calling this form of protest unacceptable, sir?
It's a question to me. This is Ashish Verma speaking.
Yes, it is a question to you, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. I don't think so. I ever said it's a form that is not, that should not be used. What I simply said, there are certain parts or certain rules and regulation that has evolved with society. We are growing as a society, we live as a society. So certainly there are certain things which is not liked by the society or not acceptable by the society. That is the only reason. There is nobody saying that this form of protest is bad or good. What we are saying that it is not acceptable in case of society.
What does that
part
mean,
of
sir?
Society. I am
Could you
not
explain,
the society.
sir? Could you explain what you mean that it is
Yes.
not acceptable?
Well,
what I see are
Yes.
two enormously brave, outspoken, modern women. I feel they should be celebrated rather than be investigated by a probe panel.
But the question is, when you say brave, there is always two types of the bravery. One is positive side, one is negative side. The society always accept those who are the positive side, not at the negative side. So that's what it is. So in my opinion, it is just a other way around. I want to say, maybe not only India, all over the world, these kind of norms are not acceptable in terms of society. The first case that was occurred in Germany,
yes,
it was just a protest.
Yes.
But most of the time people has not accepted all over the country or all over the world. So somewhere somebody and everybody is accepting that it is a form of protest, which doesn't give a reason that should be considered as one of the best way of protesting anything.
May I ask you, Mr. Swaroop Verma, who does it offend? Does it offend you? Does it offend, who does it offend? The teachers? Who is this offending and why?
Why it is offending, I said the answer is they believe that they are not ready to accept it.
What is the it, sir? Sir, you can say the word, it's called a period. What is the it?
No, I can say that.
You keep talking about it in code as if it's something to be ashamed of.
No, I'm not ashamed of. Since it is national channel, national TV, so I don't want to use one of those languages, which is usually not acceptable by the society. So there is nothing, nobody is against that. But the question that I have as a Vice Chancellor of the university, if it is an awareness program for the society, why it is only in the campus of the university? It should be all over the country, it should be all over the city, it should be all over the villages and town. Only then we can bring the change in terms of the social acceptance of any of these kind of things. That's
Okay.
what my concern is. Why only campus?
Okay, let me take that back to the students. Joey, why don't you take that? There are people who've also said it's a bit elitist. You know, women have also made the point it's a bit elitist. Why don't you distribute sanitary towels to poor women who can't afford them instead? Why is the symbolism more important than the substance? Do you want to respond to what you've heard the Vice Chancellor say so far, Joey? And are you scared?
Yes,
before
of
you answer,
course.
before you answer, are you a bit scared that there could be action against both of you, Joey?
Yeah, of course. I am scared, and more than me, my family is scared about what will happen to me because of the protest that we have taken up. Because of the form of the protest that we have taken up. We are scared, but my family is more scared. But I should say that when we decided to protest against this, we knew that things like this would come our way, and we have accepted it. We know when you protest against a certain norm which is so deep-rooted, patriarchy which is so deep-rooted, then you have to face problems like this, and we are ready to accept them.
But respond to the criticism of the Vice Chancellor, why only on the campus? Arumita, do you want to take that?
Yeah, see, we started the very campaign after the authorities of Jamia showcaused some of the students.
Yes.
On a Friday was our first day of campaign, and yesterday was the second day. So we have very much plans to take this campaign outside the campus, because the set of this patriarchal notions and the systems and this deep-rooted conventional thoughts and taboos are not confined to the walls of the university. We have very great plans to take this whole campaign outside the campus, so that what our Honorable Pro VC was saying is absolutely right, because this campaign or this form of protest is not for one part of the society. We have set up a demand in our campus also, because if you look at the campus of Jadavpur University, there is no medical shop near the campus. One has to walk up around a kilometer, half a kilometer to get a sanitary napkin. So we place our demand to get sanitary napkin dispensers in our university as well, like the students of JNU got it through a form of protest. Secondly, we also demand to our government or state government and the central government to start up a campaign like this, so that even the poor people can get pads, because the sanitary napkins are really costly. My housemate cannot use that while I am using a sanitary napkin.
Yes.
If she is menstruating, I am menstruating, but why cannot she get a sanitary napkin? So I think that we all should place a demand that there should be government registered cheap pads for the poor people.
But can I ask you to respond to what you heard the Pro VC, the Vice Chancellor, say, that this is not acceptable, this is nowhere in the world this is an acceptable form of protest? Which one of you wants to take that?
Yeah, see, basically when Galileo put forward the theory that the earth rotates around the sun and not the sun, he was killed. So whenever someone comes out with a striking theory which strikes a very deep-rooted conventional thought and patriarchal notions which we all are part of, it is inevitably true that it will not be socially accepted first, but it is the first thing that people are talking about it. Even we are getting negative response. Every anti-campaign is a campaign itself.
Yeah.
So when people are reacting towards this, they are even thinking, even that is what we want. That people are thinking, people are criticizing it. If they are criticizing it, they are talking about it. They are not afraid to talk what happened, that only our mothers and sisters talked about it. Now even men are talking about menstruation. Even that is a step towards sensitization.
Okay, Mr. Ashish Swaroop Verma, do you really want to punish these two women from your university? This is the part I don't get. You can disagree, you can agree, but why a punitive approach? Even in Jamia, we are seeing this. We are seeing show cause notices to students. Please, may I remind you, as you know, that in Jadavpur University, there has been a molestation just a few days ago. There was one last year that actually saw the Vice Chancellor having to resign. So instead of the punitive approach focusing on sexual abuse, sexual violence and the security of women, we are punishing women who are protesting. Why, sir? How can you justify a punitive approach? And what about free speech? What about the right to protest?
Well, whatever you're saying, let me answer you that one. I have never said that if my students should not have a freedom of speech. They have a right to have a freedom of speech. Under that, consideration, they have done this thing. The protest they have done. Usually, if you see in any institution, even in the government, you have to tell you want to protest and why. What is the rationale why you want to protest? Our administration never got this opportunity that why they want to protest. Now I come to know through this channel, if these, my students are protesting because there is no shop in the campus, I would like to inform them that I have already started discussing and making some progress in this direction. Soon
sir, it's not only about the shop, sir. Sir, it's not only about the shop. If I can speak on their behalf, they're half my age, but I remember being their age. And if I were their age, or even today, I would have joined them in this protest, because what they're trying to say, sir, with all due respect to you, is that there are still temples in this country in which menstruating women cannot enter. There is still a taboo in talking about this openly. Girls are made to feel impure. It's called that time of the month. They are using the period as a symbol of misogyny and taking it on. It's not just about the shop. Now, I'm asking you again, sir, why do you want to punish these two women and other men and women who are with them?
Well, I have not said anything like that. I don't know where this statement has come from, so I cannot confirm anything about this.
But you've ordered, I believe,
I have not made any comment.
I'm reading a probe panel has been set up. What is this panel about, sir, if you can clarify?
Yes, so the probe panels, we want to know that why it was started, when it was started, what was the reason, why administration was not informed, why we have not been discussed, what are your grievances, and let us address this. These are the things we want to investigate as an administrator. If everybody start doing like this, then you can imagine we have a 12,000 student or 10,000 student, then it will be very difficult to run any system in terms of its administration. So I wanted to talk to them. I wanted to find out why they are protesting, what is their reason. If it is an awareness, then it is not a protest.
Okay, it's
and
an
if
awareness.
This is an awareness.
Okay, it's an awareness. It's an awareness campaign.
If it is an awareness.
You listening to them speak, does it change your mind? Does it change your mind?
No, there was, no, I have never have any predetermined mind for anything. I am a very open thinker in that way. I just want to know whenever it is an awareness program or protest, if it is common, it's not with the university administration, it should go in public. There is in any city, there is a places where you can, ask for you want to protest, or you can start the awareness.
So
and they themselves are telling.
So the romance of rebellion is part of college life. I mean, if we don't rebel at that age, we're just going to become little assembly machine, assembly line products and be just like everybody else. Now, you made your point. I want Joey and Oromita to maybe ask you a question or respond to what you've said. Joey, would you like to ask the Vice Chancellor a question?
Yes, I would want to ask Sir a question. I am really sorry, please forgive me if I sound rude, but I would like to quote you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you used a phrase, you said you wouldn't, in a national television, you wouldn't want to use the word, one of those languages. That's the exact phrase that you used. So, sir, I would like to know that if it's unacceptable to the society, what exactly is unacceptable? Is menstruation unacceptable, or are the sanitary napkins unacceptable, or are women as whole unacceptable? Because if you accept women, you have to accept they are menstruating, and if they are menstruating, you have to accept that they need sanitary napkins. So I do not understand this. And when we can talk about everything with everybody, I don't understand why something as natural and as healthy as menstruation cannot be talked about in the national media.
Go ahead, sir. Please respond.
Okay. Yes, sir, you are right. The selection of word is always my choice. And whatever word and whatever I want to express the way you have expressed yourself in university, in the same way, whether it is a national TV or university or private forum, I can choose the word that I want. I never said this thing is unacceptable or this thing is not natural. They are natural. There are so many things are natural, but all those things cannot be put every time in the public domain. That's where the human brain and intelligence should be used
Well, we now have sex education in
That's my
schools.
answer to you.
But sir, we now have sex education in schools. You're saying in university we can't say the word period,
Yes.
we can't say menstruation.
No.
We have
No, I did not say you cannot say.
We have sex education in schools. That's when we first learn what a period is, what the biology of our bodies is. So I'm just, I don't know. I'm not sure that we understand what's wrong with saying this word out aloud. But Oromita, last thoughts before we wrap.
What I want to say is that our movement or a form of protest is not because of just opening a sanitary napkin dispenser. Obviously, that is a very important demand to our university authorities itself, that we want sanitary napkin dispensers. But more so, what we see is that on 20th August molestation case and the recent molestation happened in our campus, what we see is that overall there's a lack of gender sensitization all over the campus. So when our sir was talking about why campus being the first place for this movement, I think that the campus is supposed to be the first place of the movement, because we being the part of the campus as well as the society, we have this responsibility as the intelligentsia of the society to push forward the sensitization in us, firstly in our campus and then to the society as well. And what we see in this society, that there's this disgusting culture of rape culture and victim blaming. What we saw in the Park Street rape case is that our chief minister told that it was all a made-up story even before the case was filed. So this form of rape culture and victim blaming should stop immediately. And what sir was talking about, that things being socially acceptable or not, if what was Joey was telling, that if woman as a whole is not socially acceptable, being said that if menstruation and sanitary napkin is not socially acceptable, is rape and molestation socially acceptable? Is that?
Okay. Mr. Verma, I'll allow you a quick rebuttal to that. That both of these university campuses actually came in the backdrop of sexual violence against women. You said you don't understand what it's about. Both of these young women have very eloquently said it's about what it's about. It's not just about embracing your menstrual cycle without embarrassment. It is also about standing up to sexual violence on campus. So, do you want a quick response to that, sir, before we end?
Yes. As they were talking about gender sensitization, as you know, we are working on it. I just joined, 3 months before. All these things are coming step by step, and before then this thing happened.
Yes.
We are more concerned than anyone as an administrator that we should start a campaign, and I promise them there will be a very active gender sensitization campaign that will be there, and that will help us to make some changes in the thinking of all the stakeholders of my university.
Okay, I hope you'll also promise them that there will be no punishment. There will be no punishment for bright young women and men who have marched for a good cause. We'll leave it there. Oromita Mitra and Joy Banerjee and of course Ashish Swaroop Verma, thank you for your time on the buck stops here. My final thoughts on this: stop sexism, period. And that pun is fully and deliberately intended. That's it on the program. From all of us here, thanks for watching. Good night.